So it was Super Bowl Sunday, and WWE had said, we need to find a way to counter this. Super Bowl Sunday is coming up. We have no special events planned. So how do we counterbalance this in order to get more attention to us? Okay, so we gotta have a meeting, okay? Okay, so we could do a special wrestling event. Nah, we already have. We're heading into WrestleMania, so we don't care. I'm pretty sure Triple H came in and says, "Look, how about we do a special internet-based marathon, and we go on the network, we go on YouTube, we go on Twitter, we go on Facebook, we go on Twitch even maybe, and we basically do this gigantic marathon of NXT programming. All the best matches we produce, which basically means every single one of them that ever had a takeover event, and we see if we can draw new fans in, make people be enticed by the network." And it was and to culminate this, we'll do a special halftime event where we're gonna have our 6 best talents in NXT: Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet versus Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, the Reformed Evil DIY, and Adam Cole, baby, in a 6-man tag team match, and basically serve as the halftime event between the NFL's quarterly sessions. Yes. Praise to be the Triple H. So yeah, basically the basic storyline premise is that, well, there was a gigantic brawl after NXT TakeOver aired. After the show went off the air, all 6 of these competitors went into a gigantic brawl, which they uploaded on YouTube, which was awesome, and added the elements of Aleister Black's history with DIY, Velveteen Dream's history with Adam Cole was recently developing, and his history with Tommaso Ciampa, and adding King Ricochet's loss to Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and his past history with Adam Cole. You have basically this recipe of continuity at a dinner, of a special 5 cuisine continuity dinner. Add all this, and you have the talent, you have the charisma, you have the presence of these 6 people, and you have a recipe for greatness. And you have Shawn Michaels on commentary. Tragically, it was not going to have Mauro Ranallo, so that's I don't know how to feel about that. It would take place at the Performance Center. It would be mostly filled with roster talent, and even it was an invite event, so people could come to the show and bring a friend. And it would held at the Performance Center. This was also going to take place a few days, but still the 20th anniversary of the classic Halftime Heat episode, where Mick Foley and The Rock fought each other for the WWE Championship during the Super Bowl game. I'll probably look at that one point since it's the 20th anniversary. But yeah, Halftime Heat would feature the six competitors in 6-man tag team action. And I was really ecstatic to see this because, one, 6-man tag team matches are awesome thanks to the Shield and Wyatt family. Then they kind of wrecked everything after the 2 factions split, and nothing's been the same since. And then they oversaturated with Ruby Riott with the Riot Squad versus Bayley, Sasha, and an insert name here. And then that got sick, and then everyone wanted to see more 6-man tag team action, and they just threw things together with no storyline and no purpose or direction. So basically we're like, okay, Triple H, can you please fix this? Like, how are you eventually going to start a division for 6-man tag team belts if this happens? Because there was a time where it was considered during the run of the Shield and the Wyatt family, and it would have actually been an ecstatic division, provided they did it right. But sadly, now that boat's kind of sailed, and now really this forming a 6-man tag team division is kind of too late to do. So yeah, we're having this big matchup that's basically takeover worthy, and it's going to be given away for free and on the network, on the internet. And they're saying you got to compete with the Super Bowl, the halftime Super Bowl event. So add in all this, and you have a very chip on their shoulders, basically, and seeing how they are going to dominate this event. And they started bashing Maroon 5 for some reason. I don't really care whatsoever. I don't watch the Super Bowl because I'm just not interested in football. But, like, I kept hearing negative things about how it wasn't fun and how it was boring and all the stuff that happened beforehand with all the conspiracy theories. But yeah, to see this matchup happen thanks to the Super Bowl, I have to thank them for that. So at least I can say that. So now we see this match, and it lasted for nearly 17 minutes, and I loved every moment of it. It was ecstatic, and I love the subtle story nuances they added, like Johnny Gargano's dark side turn, basically, and how he's staring intently at Tommaso Ciampa's NXT title, almost like if he's so tempted to, like, I have the NA title, I want that title as well. And then you got Adam Cole, who's probably should be considering looking at both of them like, I'm gonna get one of them, but I'm gonna get all of them. So honestly, I suspected they would do the dysfunctional tag team with the history of Gargano and Ciampa, and then there's Adam Cole that wants to have that vowed to take all the gold. Surprisingly, they worked in sync together, and that was pretty surprising. But, like, and then you got Aleister Black and Ricochet, who have an established history of Velveteen Dream, and, like, even they address, like, yeah, we kind of don't like each other, but really, we hate these guys more, so we have a common enemy on this. Okay, we got a common enemy. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this! Let's go, let's go, let's go! And Velveteen Dream wears a football-esque entrance gear. So, yeah, Velveteen Dream is once again stealing the show, and I'm wondering how come he's going to be ruined on the main roster because Vince is a petty, vindictive bastard. But that's just me thinking of conjectures. It's not like Vince has been given shot at by Velveteen Dream on several occasions in 1 year alone. Because the Vince has no memory of that, right? So, yeah. And fans were chanting for Johnny halftime. Johnny halftime. It's like, how is it that, like, 600 people at best can make a louder crowd reaction and make innovative chants than the goddamn shows that have thousands of people in attendance? Okay, that's actually putting it very light, because if you saw the SmackDown taping that happened on SmackDown Live, and then you see the photos of what the attendance really was like, half the arena was empty. And I'm curious as to know if Becky Lynch or anyone else that had to do a promo was like, oh god, I feel so uncomfortable. So, yeah, no doubt that was probably uncomfortable for SmackDown's roster. But the biggest highlight in this matchup wasn't just all the super kicks and all the greatness of these guys and whatnot. And also we had our female referee be the referee of this match, so that was nice. But I would have really hilariously loved if they did what I kept dreaming about wanting to see. Whenever you get, okay, you have 6 people in this ring that all do super kicks. Tell me there shouldn't be a moment in NXT or on the main roster that should do it first, where you have all the parties who do super kicks launch super kicks at each other to the point they all collapse to the ground. Tell me that wouldn't be kind of hilarious. And I can imagine the NXT fans chanting, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Because that would just be so hilarious. And I would have loved if Marvinello was on commentary and they did this, he would be like, Mamma Mia! Or Shawn Michaels doing something in honor of his Sweet Chin music thing. But, like, yeah, it was hilarious. It would have been hilarious if they did that. But the other big highlight is when Gargano and Ciampa did their DIY maneuver, but with Adam Cole joining in on the fun, which was freaking awesome. And Adam Cole once again shows everyone why he needs to be a world champion one day when he does the Canadian Destroyer, or the Panama Sunrise, as he's known for calling it in the independent scene, for the first time in his time in WWE. So that leads to a big question for everybody. Why are they bringing back pile drivers, specifically the Canadian Destroyer one? Well, if I had to guess, it would have to be AEW. No, seriously, that's the only guess I can make. That I'm pretty sure Vince honestly thinks that independent wrestling is only popular because they do pile drivers and whatnot. They like to slam people's heads into the mat. because clearly that's the only thing that makes people love independent wrestling, right? You know, people just doing pile drivers on each other. It's not like there's a complicated story in there. There's not characters that we grow to love. It's not like all this stuff that they do in the independent is much better than the content on the main roster. And also the fact that there's a storyline that's been over 10 years in the developmental making between Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. That's very, 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 very cathartic when you get that moment where they hug and reunite their team. And if you stay with them since the beginning, that would have been much more profound. But yeah, this match was awesome. This 6-man tag team match shows why 6-man tag team wrestling should go a certain way. Like, you have a match that had all the characters showcase their abilities, showcase their talents, showcase their charisma, and showcase their subtleties and nuances, and no one feels left out. No one felt left out in this matchup like they do with the Ruby Riots and the Riot Squad, with the whole Banks and Bailey connection with an insert name here thing. Mostly Natalia, but that's a completely different story. So, yeah, it was exciting to see this match. I loved it. I really hope they start doing halftime heat more in the future. It would be a pretty awesome thing to do as their counter program. Especially you got the best of WWE, NXT competing with the NFL, basically. And yeah, I get the feeling Vince is now starting to realize, okay, I may hate this brand, but they are on to something. I can use them as my competition gun against anyone who opposes me. Okay, everyone, put NXT on Tuesday nights. Honestly, that's my dream. To see NXT on Tuesday nights compete with AEW's rumored Tuesday Night Dynamite. Imagine them going head to head, and you have people flipping the channels trying to, like, I don't know where to go. I love NXT, but I love AEW. Oh, but I love NXT. Man, I don't know what to choose, because that would be awesome if they did that. So yeah, clearly this is like saying to NXT, like, okay, Vince, this is Vince. I don't like you, damn it. God damn, I need you right now. I mean, like, my program really sucks. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to see if they do more halftime heats in the future. And with NXT being the way it is, something tells me Triple H will gun for that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting run. And I just also get reminded that I see these 6 people, and I know 2 of them are 205 Live bound because of their weight. One is just going to be buried because he's just, well, 3 of them are 205 Live bound. One's probably going to be told, lose the weight, and then you can go to 205 Live. The other one's going to be horribly punished because he has an opinion and showcases shoot style against Vince McMahon. And the other guy has a 50-50 shot at best. So yeah, that's the downfall of that problem. So really, I hope Triple H gets his wish where he can imagine NXT not just being the developmental brand, but also be a brand, the alternative brand, or even a worldwide branching brand where they could have talents from the main roster come down back to NXT if they don't succeed on the main roster and feel like, you want to come home? I'll let you come home. So those were my thoughts on WWE's Halftime Heat Special 6-man tag team match with Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Aleister Black, DIY, and Adam Cole, baby. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. If you feel like, comment, subscribe, and donate, stay tuned for more. Adam Cole, baby!